Welcome to the Content Amplification Podcast, where you will gain insight into real-life tactical and strategic elements to help you scale and grow your business. Now, let's get started with today's episode.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. It's May 13th. It's snowing outside the studio right now. What is going on with this world? I know we're in lockdown with the coronavirus and business has just been turned on its head for a lot of different business owners out there in different sectors. But I mean, come on, Mother Nature. Snow in May is crazy. How you doing? It's Sean here with the Content Amplification Podcast. Are you spending a lot more time now working on your business now that you can't exactly work in your business? Well, some of you can't work in your business. I know for us here at Blue Cow Marketing, this has been an extremely busy 6 to 8 weeks. And I don't really want to say that in a way that, wow, this is the best thing that's ever happened. But the reality is we're in a tech business and the world has now realized that technology is a huge asset. Okay, now a lot of the world knew that, but most businesses that were really stuck on kind of pushing away technology or maybe just having it as a sidebar in their business, now that they were forced to get away from that one-to-one personal contact, have been looking at their business saying, how can I implement technology more to still stay connected with my customers, my clients? How can I still have meetings with them when I can't see them face to face? So they're implementing systems like Zoom or Google Hangouts that are now more in the forefront of people being able to meet. And there's a whole different side to that too in the psychology side of how is this messing with people's brains, not being able to physically connect with people in that day-to-day operations of business. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of that come to light over the next couple of months. And as things start to either stay locked down in some areas of the world or, in other areas that are doing quite well. I know here in Canada on the East Coast, I mean, we've had several days in our region where we haven't had a new case. I think it's like 20 some days now. So things are going to start to look to reopen, and obviously not jumping the gun and opening the doors wide open, but a slow release, right? And we're going to see how that's going to go. And then you can hear a lot of experts talking about, the fall and coming back in the winter, maybe a phase 2 of Corona coming through. So who knows? Who knows what the world is going to be? Who knows what's going to happen? All I can tell you right now with certainty is that those that are still slogging ahead, keeping their boots on the ground and actually working on their business, finding new ways to either generate revenue or provide the same services in an alternate way are the ones that are going to succeed. And today's episode, I want to talk to you about opening doors, okay? And looking at your business at the way that there are multiple entry points to your business. When you're starting to look online and you're starting to focus on your website, and I guarantee if you've had a business that had a website and now that you've had some more time to yourself, you're looking at your website. We've had a lot of clients who have actually rebuilt their website. They've basically gone through a whole digital renovation. And that's a great time to do that. But the thing to consider is people don't always enter through the front door, meaning they're not always going to come to your homepage. When you have a website that has multiple pages, whether it's services pages or blogs is another one where you have different articles on there, those are starting to get indexed in search engine results. So Google has actually did an update as of a couple of days ago where they've changed their algorithm. And I can't tell you without exact certainty what the changes were, but I know what they're doing is they're trying to become smarter, having their AI, their artificial intelligence, be more in providing search results for what people are looking for, being more intuitive in that way. So when you have a website for your business, or even if you're a personal blogger and you're putting out great content that is going to be helpful to people, having that indexed and having it come up in search based on what people are looking for is what Google is looking to do even better. So they're going to reward you for that and show your content in front of people. So keeping in mind that if somebody does a search for a certain topic or problem they have, and a post comes up in the results that is your post, and people click on it, they didn't come through the front door. They didn't come through your homepage. So take a look at your website in those eyes. Go directly to a blog post and say, if this was the first impression of my business, number one, is it the best first impression? And number two, is there anything on there that's enticing for people to consume more? Right? We are conditioned now. We are in that phase that pretty much everyone binges. Right? You know what I mean by binges is one piece of content is never enough. If the content is good, you're going to want more. Right? Very much, I've mentioned this on previous episodes, that Netflix mentality. We don't just watch one episode. We're watching more than one. Right? We're binging. So when we come to a blog post that is an answer to a certain problem that we have and we read it and we're like, yeah, that makes sense. Perfect. Right? Is there, the next step? What's next is what people are saying in their mind. So for example, if somebody's doing a search for, how do I start a podcast? And, a blog post comes up and it's like, the 5 steps or the 5 essential things you need to start a podcast. And it's a blog post, right? So it's all written out, 5 bullet points, and then, 5 more in-depth parts on there. And they're reading through and they're getting a lot of those ideas and they're like, yeah, this makes sense. And then either on the bottom or on the right-hand side, there's a ad or a opt-in for, get the 21-step checklist to launching your first podcast. Well, that's the next step. Somebody that would have been reading that article is probably in their infancy. If they've got a podcast and they've been doing it for years, they're not looking for an article on the 5 essential things they need to start a podcast, right? They're looking for something more advanced. But somebody that's starting and they see this checklist, they're like, okay, there's 21 things that I need to know before I want to launch. I need that. So they're going to opt in for it, right? See what I mean here? So the other part too is, are there any other related or relevant posts? Over time, you're going to get more and more content created that could be beneficial to them. So we see a lot of blogs where on the bottom, it's like, other articles you may like. So your WordPress site would have the option to add that on. Make sure you have that, because as they read through, they'll go down and they'll see other ones there. And those can be generated based on relevancy. They could be generated based on the most views, so popularity. So a lot of those different elements are very helpful to get people to consume more content, more clicks, more page views. Again, the more time they spend on the site, Google knows that, especially if you've got your Google Analytics connected to the site, and they're going to reward you more. They're going to help you get more of your content in front of people. So look at your website in that way. Look at your website in the way that there are multiple points of entry. People can come directly to a service page. People can come directly to a contact page. Google your business. See the sub pages that show up in the index and go to each one of those and ask yourself right now, is this the best first impression I could make to a potential customer if they hit this page for the first time? That's your homework. Look at your website that way. Improve, modify, test, and then do it all over again. Hope you're staying safe. Love providing you this content. Subscribe to the podcast. If you got some questions and want to reach out to me, bluecowmarketing.ca. Until next time, take care.
Thanks for listening to the Content Amplification Podcast. If you have questions about how you can amplify your content strategy, go to amplifymycontent.com.